the safety
On Tuesday of
our
this
children
week, the
is
announcement
my top
finally
priority.
came that a lot
The
of
one
parents
thing I will
and
never
students
do
were waiting for.
is
Doug
take
Ford
unnecessary
and
risks
Education Minister Stephen
when it comes to our
Lecce
children.
stepping to the microphone and
And that's
explaining the
why,
decision to
after
not
careful
reopen
consideration,
schools
after
until at
consulting with the
least
health experts,
September. And
it
here
is
to talk
clear
about that, Niagara
that we
West
cannot
MPP
open
Sam
schools at
Oosterhoff.
this
Welcome,
time.
Sam.
Thank you, Mike.
As the parliamentary secretary to the Education Minister, I guess, you were involved in some of this decision making, and, right there when those decisions are being made, very difficult decision to come to.
Absolutely. And the Premier and the Minister of Education, Stephen Lecce, their first focus and our first focus as a government is ensuring the health and safety of our citizens. And that includes, of course, the students in schools across this province. So we made this decision based off of the recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of Health. But it was a very difficult decision because, of course, throwing away a school year physically is very difficult. It's not something we want to do. And, of course, it was taken after a lot of consideration. I know it was a bit later than some people were hoping to have some certainty around, but it's important that we took it very much day by day and made the right decision as the time was appropriate.
How was it accepted by the school boards?
A lot of them weren't really surprised. We've seen some other jurisdictions cancel their in school year. So a lot of school boards realized that it was a necessity as well, and they understood just the need to make sure that kids were kept safe, and that, of course, the logistics of planning for next year is so important to make sure that we're able to do that safely. So school boards understood, and they've been very good at also coming alongside when it comes to our Learn at Home program, which is providing supports for students learning at home throughout the summer as well, and ensuring that they have what they need to have some continuity of learning till next year.
To avoid any confusion, schools physically are closed, but students are still learning from home. How is that going from your perspective?
Well, of course, it's not the ideal situation. We would much prefer students to be able to be in the classroom. But the reality is, in the time that we live and with the situation that we have, we feel that teachers are doing an excellent job of trying to provide as much hands-on learning as possible through Zoom, through various applications. They've been very creative and innovative in ensuring students are learning and continuing to learn. But it's been a challenge, I know, on some families. So we've definitely had families reach out who are struggling with it. And we understand that, which is why we're trying to put forward as many supports as possible. And as well, there are concerns around the equity when it comes to people who don't have great internet access or tablets, for example. And that's something that we have been working with school boards to address. I believe over 220,000 tablets have gone out to families across the province, but there's always more we can do.
Do the boards expect an increase in the number of students signing up for summer school programs to either top up what they've been able to do for the remainder of this semester, or to reach ahead to prepare for next year?
Well, we're going to see. I'm not sure what the expectations are at the local board level. I know various boards have different ways of seeing the promotion of that type of an opportunity. I hope to see that quite a few people do, because I think it's going to be important for this fall, right? Because people didn't have a school year that was a traditional school year, and they're going to need that extra assistance, which is why we're trying to provide those supports through the school boards as well as through Learn at Home online, and make sure that they're available for that.
Sam, you've alluded a couple of times to September, to the fall. I would imagine that even though we haven't finished May yet, you're already looking at options for what September might look like in the school system, both elementary and secondary. It's a difficult focus, I guess, to put on September because we don't know what to expect in September, and most likely will not be a vaccine by then.
Well, and this is the challenge. We've always said it's not a pandemic with a playbook. It doesn't come with a clear, nicely defined set of rules as to this is what you could do, this is what you can't. We have to work with our partners, and of course the Chief Medical Officer of Health and his team, who are very, very involved in this, to make sure that when September comes, which at this point we do expect, of course, school to be able to reopen as long as we see those trend lines continue in a downward fashion. But the reality is it's going to be a challenge making sure that we have all the logistics in place and that we're able to put, again, first and foremost, the health and safety of our kids, and that's our top priority. But we recognize the need to make sure that students are able to be back in class as well. And so that's an ongoing conversation, and there are a lot of people much smarter than I am as well working on that. And we really are going to be doing our very best to provide the support necessary to families and to educators as well as students.
Thank you for the update today, Sam. Stay safe. Great to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you.